There's this incredible book, The Grieving Brain. Neuroscientist, University of Arizona.
Yeah.
She's like, the most helpful metaphor that she can help folks grasp is this. She's like, grief is the response to a significant loss. That's what grief is.
Yeah.
Grieving is learning.
Mm-hmm.
Learning how to live in the world without that loss. So
Yeah.
her thing is you don't move through the world based on how you see the world.
Mm-hmm.
You move through the world based on how you remember the world.
That's good. That's
so your brain is a GPS, and a GPS does not move through the world as it is.
Yeah.
It moves through the world as the most recent update says that it is.
That's good.
So if you have a loved one that dies,
Yeah.
and you wake up the next morning, your GPS has not updated.
Yeah.
So that's why you send them the text. When it doesn't come through and bounces back, you're like, oh yeah, they're not here.
Yeah.
And I think she does an amazing job of that in her book with like a loved one.
Yeah.
But she doesn't do it with the ambiguous griefs or health. And maybe that's a thing that's starting to come up now, right? I think like 2 weeks ago was the 10-year anniversary of Sam passing.
Yeah.
And everybody, my family, my loved ones, they're like, yo, how are you? People call in and check and text. For a grief like yours, how many people join in your grief out loud?
I think people don't know how to, bro.
Right.
People don't know how to. It's not very often.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not as clear. The kind of thought that would go into your mind, like, oh, I bet the season's hard for John. It's just not that same thing. And I think sometimes people forget. Sometimes people don't really know how to ask about it. And often people will just react based on what they see and they assume you're fine. It's hard, bro.
Yeah.
There's some education involved to understand it too.
Yeah.
It's tough.
All right.
Yeah. So there is a loneliness to it.
Yeah.
For that reason. Yeah.
I'd love to do a little bit of that education right now for us to talk.
Yeah.
I've routinely heard you say that chronic fatigue, your health, is the hardest part about every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
Can you unpack that?
Sure. I think when people think like, oh, Trip is sick, maybe the clearest way I could explain it is, this isn't the clearest way. One way I could try to explain it is, I'm not somebody who gets new iPhones all the time. All right. They used to, when they updated them, it was way better. And you were like, oh man, I want that. I don't care. These must don't be better, bro. I'm not shooting a movie on my phone. Therefore, if my picture's good, I'm good. Okay?
I get it. But we did just have our first uninterrupted phone call 3 weeks ago when you finally updated from the 4G.
But we finally got to a point where it mattered for me to have a new phone. Anyway.
Right.
So the little thing, the little port was a little loose. It had been heavily used. And so sometimes I would plug it in before I went to sleep and I would wake up and I thought it was charging. It's doing what it's supposed to do when it charges, but I don't know if it's gonna be charged when I wake up in the morning or not. When people go to sleep, their bodies rest and recharge. Mine does not. It's supposed to be. If I wake up and my phone's not really charged, that changes how I can use this phone throughout the day. I don't know how long it's gonna last. I don't know if I'm gonna have to, I can't just be using it all the time, doing all kind of extra stuff because my phone might die at any moment. My body doesn't recharge like other people's bodies. I don't know how many good hours I'll have in any given day. I don't always know if I will at all. And the only reason I use that kind of faulty charger thing is there's an unpredictability to it, how I feel and when. There are also other symptoms that pop up that come and go. It seems like there may be some extra autoimmune stuff going on in my body. I just say that to give context, fainting randomly, random inflammation, random stuff that goes on that. Yeah. So there's a good chance that in 5 years we'll be on some other conversation. I'll be like, I figured out it was actually this thing.
Right.
So there's not like a positive chronic fatigue syndrome test. It's here's how we're describing this systemic thing that's going on in your body.
Yeah.
But on average, I maybe have 2 to 3 good hours, maybe. I don't know what hours of the day those would be. Sometimes maybe I could have more or less. So it being the hardest part of every part of my life, people might think, oh man, I bet that makes it hard to, I can see how they make it hard to pastor being in office all the time. But I think people may not think about what that would mean for, how I take care of my body, exercise. I don't think people think about what that means for my relationship with my wife, what it means for my relationship with my kids, what it means for my church involvement, what it means for my relationships with my friends, for my body to not be able to be relied on. If my phone dies, I can't call you. My phone was tripping, and so we would be talking and it died a couple times, or it was cutting in and out. This is the only body I have to interact in the world with. God commands me to rejoice in him. This is the body I have to do it in. God has called me to love my neighbor, lay my life down for my brothers. This is the body I have to do it in. And my body, just like every app on my phone is in danger if it's not charged, everything that God has called me to do, everything I desire to do, every relationship, all depends. I have to do it in this body. And so it has a deep impact on every single thing that I do. So the hardest part of parenting is I don't have the energy to do some things that I want to do. There's an unreliability. It's the hardest part of my marriage is my health and my body is up and down. There've been seasons where that was really tough for us because of then the burden it puts on Jess. It's been the hardest part of work. I could go down the line of every single part of my life. It does feel like the hardest part. And part of that grief, I'm sure it's, the same for us grieving when we grieve the loss of a person is we can't allow that grief to turn us into, even if that's the hardest part of our lives in that season, it can't be like, I'm the person who lost somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's different when the loss is, how I show up in the world.
Right.
So I don't say it's the hardest part of every part of my life to be like, hey, who I am, the only thing I am is a sick person.
Right.
Though I will say, get into a place where I'm like, I'm a sick person and I have sick person limitations. Seasons where that's firm on my mind is helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is the hardest part of every part of my life.
Yeah.
And different people in those parts of my life understand it in different ways in different seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, it's just.
And I've talked to, what's hard about us having a conversation on camera is we've talked about so much so often that if I'm leaving holes that other people listening into this conversation wouldn't have, wouldn't feel free to,
Yeah, no. So I think all of that, it's good and complete. It's causing me to step back and even rethink.
See, but that's what's crazy is this happens all the time where like even the people who know me and love me best, who know me best and love me the most, and even the people who've made like, like for instance, I'm thinking, when that Unrest documentary is on Netflix and I'm like, hey, John and Chandra, could y'all come to this screening?
Right.
Because here's a chance for this movie that helps people see and experience. Y'all, y'all are the ones who, and still there are things that it's still like, oh, that makes it click in a new way. Or like Craig listening to a podcast. He was like, bro, it's a reminder. And the stuff you said that I didn't think about the depth of this. Or people been like, oh man, I was listening to Dreaming on the end and that made certain things click, It's just a very strange kind of grief and loss. Where it's like, no one's like, oh, I knew your dad died, but I didn't know he was dead. It's like, no. Is you dead or you not? It is not the same depths, but.
Yeah, no. So like this in the conversation of grief now, and not just grief, but like grief as a language. So things have changed for me when it's like, all right, hey, y'all, I said it once, like grief's not a journey. Language. Goal is not to finish. It's to become fluent. So it was after the pandemic, I wrote We Go On. And my first thing was like, the reason why it's not in the like grief and loss space is because I said, hey y'all, this is a book on hope. And coming out of the pandemic, people were like, all that hope stuff is good. I'm grieving and these are the words that I need. And so there is a hope that can be found when people articulate your grief out loud in a way that's like, I share this with you and I'm not necessarily like, it doesn't affect me in the way that it does start to affect people that have or that where your loss carries more weight or there's like more stakes there. So I would imagine your sickness and the way that you grieve that, you grieve it in a way, maybe inside or out loud. Your wife and your kids grieve it in a way, inside and out loud, that the rest of the world doesn't. And but it's like, but the stakes are high. They feel it daily. Where it's like where I like, it's just made me sit and think back. Like I sit and I think back. And if I think through the course of the 18 years, I think I've shared more words about how, I think I've shared more words from a silver lining standpoint. Like, man, this is great. I'm glad this thrived. I'm glad this is there.
Yeah.
The proportion is, but I've shared way more words there than I have of like how we, man, it's gotta be, yo, I'm grieving with you. Like I think about the comfort and solace I get where every April 14th, my phone is filled with people that are sharing. I know how much Sam meant to you. I know that you're still grieving. I'm not trying to solve it. I'm here to acknowledge that your sadness is a very real and right thing. And I imagine that you get less of that and you get more people trying to cheer you up.
Yeah. Yes. And I think, even when I was talking about that quote of people not knowing what to do when you're sick and you just stay sick for a long time.
Right.
Especially in ways that they can't always visibly see. I don't know. I think people don't know, if you say, hey, how are you feeling? And it's like, I'm not good. And it's this, I think people don't know how to continue to talk about it and navigate it. It's tough.